Hello friends, welcome to Legg Life and welcome to Bethel, Alaska. I've been here for a couple of days for work, and before I leave I wanted to pull out the vlog camera and show you a little bit about this unique part of our state. Bethel's a town of about 6,000-ish people. It's considered the largest rural village, rural town in our entire state. It's about 400 air miles west of Anchorage. A lot of the area surrounding Bethel is tundra. I'll show you a bunch of that, which provides for a unique way of life, a unique way of building. There's a number of things that I want to show you while I'm still here in Bethel. I want to take you to a grocery store, show you the prices of things in an Alaskan rural community. I want to show you the way that buildings here are built, and just kind of take you around and show you a little bit more of our state. There are a number of reasons that Bethel is such an important hub community for villages all over this part of our state. And this part of Alaska is called the YK Delta, or the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. It's this area of land between the Cuscoquim River that runs right here by Bethel, we'll see that in a few minutes, and the Yukon River. And there's all sorts of villages around this part, but Bethel really is the main hub for this whole region. And it's the main hub for a lot of reasons. There's people who come here shopping, but then also, right behind me, the hospital is one of the biggest things. If you need any kind of medical services and you live in this part of Alaska, Bethel is probably where you come. But it's also home to the Yukon Delta National Wildlife Refuge. Now, I have not been here, but I saw they had a visitor center. You guys know I love stuff like that, so let's go in and check it out. So this is neat. When you first walk in, they have a map here and some different information on the 16 different national wildlife refuges that exist around Alaska. So you can see we are over here in the Yukon Delta area right now. Bethel is where we are today. And again, you can see the Kuskokwim River right there. Up here is the Yukon River. So this whole area is the YK Delta. And then when you walk in, they have a timeline over here of the Yukon Delta National Wildlife Refuge. And then over here, they just have more information. The ranger here showed me something that I thought was really cool. This is the salmon migration map. I'll show you this in a second. It's kind of one of those topographical maps. So just so you know where we are, this is the Kuskokwim Bay. So the Kuskokwim River dumps out here into the bay. So this will show you the migration of salmon. Watch this. You can see how it lights up. Salmon migrate, and then up there into the river. Over here, lots of different animals that are native to the area. One of the things that I thought was interesting as I was reading up about this part of our state is that lots and lots of birds, but not a lot of big animals. So bears are not hugely prevalent here, moose not hugely prevalent, but they do have lots and lots of birds, lots of seabirds and things like that. And then over here they have another display with more animals. Is that Harry Potter's owl? And this is actually talking a little bit more about some of the larger animals like the moose here. So in the whole Kuskokwim drainage area, in 2007 they observed, 149 total moose. But then look, 2009, 258. It does make me wonder, because I mean 2009 was a long time ago. What's happened to that number since then? This can be a helpful display to remember when I'm showing you some of the building methods here in Bethel a little bit later in the video, because this is what the ground is like out here on the tundra. You can see the top layer is wet soil, then you get down to a layer of peat, then you have leach layers, but then down here what you have is permafrost, and permafrost is basically frozen ground. Now, most places you'd have, layers of soil, maybe gravel. You'd eventually get down to bedrock, so things were stable. However, with the permafrost, it is constantly melting and changing and adjusting, so the ground is hard to really build a foundation into, but it's also always changing. And so you'll see some of the effects of that when I show you some buildings a little bit later. So you can see it's not a huge visitor center, but it is nice that it's here. It helps you understand the region a little bit more, some of the wildlife that exists here, what the landscape is like. And they do have postcards for sale. You guys know how much that makes my heart happy. And then also, they have a little gift shop over here. This is cool. Look at that poster. Established 1980. That was the year that I also was established. And of course I didn't bring our national parks passport with us, but they do have the cancellation station here, so I'm gonna stamp a piece of paper, take it home, put it in our passport. Well, that was a good little stop. I do feel bad though. My team flew out, well, they're actually flying out probably right about now, and we didn't come here while they were here, but I think they would have enjoyed this. I knew this was here, but I didn't know what it would be like. It was really great. Definitely one of my favorite places I've stopped so far in Bethel. Lots of good information about the region, about the area. Now, let's head out. Oh, also, I got postcards, perfect. Now, let's head out and show you a little bit more of the town. All right, our next stop here on our tour of Bethel is maybe one of the absolute lifelines of this community, and that is right here, the Kuskokwim River. You can see the Welcome to Bethel, the hub of the Kuskokwim sign right here. And then we have the river out here. You can see boat there, down here. This is the dock right here. So barges can pull up here, delivering all of the goods that are needed here for this community and surrounding villages. There are lots and lots of boats here. I'll take you over to the harbor here in just a second. But the river, fishing, transportation, this is absolutely crucial to the way of life here in Bethel. So I think Bethel is about 50 miles from where the Kuskokwim River dumps out into Kuskokwim Bay. So it is not far, and obviously in the summertime, lots of boats traveling up and down the river. But in the wintertime, it basically becomes a frozen road because it just freezes, and it gives you an opportunity via snow machine, four-wheeler, to get up and down the river to other villages, other communities. And so both in the summer and the winter, this kind of acts in some ways as the highway of the area. And it's also a huge river. Just look how big it is. Now there are paved roads in Bethel, but the majority of roads are gravel. So we picked up the rental car a couple days ago, and in just a couple days you can tell we got it pretty dirty. This has been a really good trip. We were out here doing some work with a couple Native organizations here in our state around issues of missing and murdered Indigenous women, human trafficking, sexual assault in our state. How in the world do we continue to raise awareness of those in our Native communities? How do we reduce all of those things in our Native communities? And so it was a really good couple of days of work in a part of the state that I haven't been to Bethel in over 20 years for sure, probably longer than that. And it's good to come back. I love exploring Alaska, as you all know. And it's always fun to get out of where I live and get to see more of our state. And Bethel, a unique part of our state. Pretty much no matter where you travel around Alaska, basketball is a staple of life, especially in villages and in rural communities. But one of the things that I love here is you will notice the basketball court is basically made of not like pavement like we would see in Anchorage or concrete or asphalt. It's actually made out of wood because, again, the ground is so unsteady and the ground is just moving with all of the permafrost, that building it like that is the only way to get a semi-flat court. I've seen a number of courts just like this as I've driven around Bethel. And with the changing ground, sometimes it has effects like this, where a house just, well, starts to get consumed by the land as the ground melts. And here we have a pretty good view of the sort of small boat harbor area. You can see lots of spots for boats. There are a lot of them out. We were by here a couple days ago and then earlier today, and there were a lot more boats in here. So a lot of people out on the river today. It is a beautiful day though. This is the nicest day we've had since we've been here. The first couple days were cloudy, rainy, windy, but today we got some blue skies and sunshine. And 55-degree temperature, which is not too bad. This is a good example of what I was talking about with how things would be built differently here. A lot of the houses are elevated. They're up on stilts. They have like an elevated foundation to get off of that tundra, off of that permafrost ground. But then also, you got to think about how in the world do you bury water pipes, other things like that. So a lot of the houses, you will actually see this elevated pipe system for all of that. It's just like little pipelines running from house to house. There's a good example of the elevated foundation, kind of the house up off the ground right there. And then a piping system right there. Next up, we're going to the grocery store. It's important to remember that everything here in Bethel has to come in one of two ways. It's either coming in by boat or by airplane, because there are no roads here into Bethel, so there are no shipping trucks that can drive here. This is the AC store. AC stands for Alaska Commercial, and it is by far the biggest grocery store. Go ahead and close that for them. The biggest grocery store here in Bethel, and honestly, it's really nice. So on the whole first floor here, I'll show you, is grocery. Upstairs they have clothes and stuff, and also furniture. So I want to show you a number of different things just to give you an idea of what prices would be like for groceries here in Bethel. I want to show you things like milk and eggs, but then I want to show you some things that when I saw the price of, I was a little bit surprised. First of all, a dozen eggs, $5.99 it looks like for the cheapest ones. If you wanted like organic brown eggs, $10.99 a dozen. Over here we have milk. Looks like a gallon of milk, $12.49 for the gallon. They do have half gallons over here for $7.79. And then a can of whipped dairy topping, $7.59. Let's look down here. We got Kraft macaroni and cheese. Looks like $4.29 per box for that. And the always popular ramen noodles, 89 cents per pack. If you want to get a case of them, it looks like $16.49 for the case. As far as coffee goes, you can see a can of Hills Brothers is $21.99. They do have like bagged coffee. If you wanted Starbucks, a pound of Starbucks coffee, $19.19. Looks like we have chicken thighs, $2.99 on sale right now. And then we have like pork loin chops, $3.99 per pound. You can see they actually have a really amazing selection of meats. This is a really, really nice store. Now let me show you some prices that are pretty amazing. Box of diapers, $90.49. The sheet cakes here start at $60. So $60 for the plain one. If you want something like this, the price $65.99. So just so you know, there's like $600 in sheet cakes right here. You can see a thing of Gain laundry detergent, $40. The big 28-pound box of Kirkland is $50. But what about for pets? Bag of dog food, $40.99, $40.49. Missy's cat food that she eats, $46.11 per bag. And so you can definitely tell the things that are bigger and bulkier and take up more space, or that are really heavy, are the things where the prices tend to be a lot higher on, which does make sense because again, everything is coming up here either by plane or by boat. However, I do have to say, they have a great selection of cheese. I did not expect this. And a really nice produce section. Of all of the rural Alaska grocery stores I've been in, even up to Utqiagvik, Skagway, here, other smaller communities, this may be the nicest. But let's give you some prices. $2.99 a pound for bananas. What do we have over here? $3.99 each for bell peppers. Green leaf lettuce, $4.49. Watermelon are $2.99 a pound. I just weighed this one right here. That would end up being about $30 for the one watermelon. Case of bottled water, $28.99. It's on sale, $10 off, so normally almost $40 for a case of water. However, Sherry would be happy because you can get a cup of coffee right here at Cusco Coffee and Cream. And as we start to head out, passing by the bakery section, you can see a loaf of whole wheat bread, $8.19 for that. If you wanted Dave's Killer Bread, $14.50, $14.59 for a loaf. So that is grocery shopping in Bethel, Alaska. Like I said, inside, super nice store. Way nicer than I've seen around most of the rest of our state, certainly in rural communities. And it's easy, as soon as you walk in, to understand why Bethel would be such a hub for shopping and for groceries for this part of our state, because the produce looked really good, looked really fresh. The meat section looked great. It felt like a grocery store in Anchorage with prices that obviously were higher. Here's what I want to know from you guys though, in the comments below. What did you think about the prices compared to where you live? Were you shocked by them? Were they not as high as you expected? Were they higher than you expected? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm always curious when people from around the country and around the world watch our videos, what they think about things like that when they see it here in Alaska. This is the building where the cultural center is, and that's where our meetings have been the last couple of days. And I'm about to head back in for just a little bit. However, they have a food truck over here outside the cultural center, and I think I'm gonna grab something to eat from there real quick. So you can see here is the information on the food truck and their menu. What I got were fry bread tacos. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'll show you when I get them what they are. Other things they have, they've got all beef dogs, reindeer dogs, veggie dogs, but fry bread tacos, calling my name. Look how good this looks, you guys. The fry bread is right under there. You can see we've got ground beef on there, we've got lettuce, we've got beans, tomatoes. Oh, it's just sour cream. Not sure what this is, probably some kind of a salsa crema maybe, but this looks perfect. Lunch was so good. Maybe the best meal I've had so far in Bethel. Also here in the cultural center, they have a gift shop. On the left side of the building is the library. Over here is where we are meeting. Back in there, they also have the Yupik Museum right there, but it's actually closed right now, which is a bummer. And I did buy a couple things in the gift shop already yesterday. I'm officially done with work for this trip. I've got a couple of hours until I need to head to the airport to catch my flight. And I thought I would come out here for, I think, the third time this trip, to a place called Pinkies Park. Pinkies is basically, I don't know if you guys can see back there, there's like a skate park, there is like a little baseball diamond, there's a playground, but then there's this. It is about 2 miles of boardwalk out here through the tundra. I don't know if you can see, but the boardwalk goes all back, all up over there. One of the things I like out here is basically this tundra cotton. Look at that. They have a bunch of it right there. And you can kind of just see all around out here, there's lots of it growing. I'm not sure it's gonna show up on camera, but just like I was talking about, the way that the ground out here moves and shifts, even the boardwalk is all, well, I don't have a better word than wonky. Like, it's just kind of slanted in some spots. You can definitely tell the ground out here changes and shifts a lot. Here's kind of a good look of the Bethel area. You can see a new big building over there. Lots of houses, development over there. It looks like some new buildings perhaps. That direction, the AC store, the grocery store we went to, is like right back over there. The cultural center where my training was back over here. And I think, I'm not positive totally, I think the airport is somewhere in that direction. And then the tan building back over there, I believe, is the swimming pool. They have like a big aquatic center here, which I think is pretty cool. You can also see airplane right up there taking off. Now, I flew out here on Alaska Airlines. It was actually a 737, a big plane, a full plane, and it looks like it's full going back to Anchorage today as well. There are 2 Alaska Airlines flights a day out here to Bethel and then back to Anchorage, as well as lots of other just like smaller regional flights here as well. I'm having the most nostalgic moment because I heard like a bunch of laughing and like excited kids noises, and I looked over there and they are playing with the parachute. How many of you remember parachute day in like PE? It was the best. Oh my gosh. I wish that we could have like field day for 40-year-olds, right? Like field day for adults where we get together and we do things that are like that. Just like super nostalgic that we remember from our kids. When we're done, we can have orange slices and Capri Suns. Somebody please organize that. So left Pinkies Park, and I want to talk a little bit about like restaurants, food, other businesses here in Bethel. As far as restaurants go, there are a handful of them. We ate at, I think, 2 or 3 different restaurants while we were here. We found one pizza place that we liked, so we kind of went back there, I think, for 3 meals, question mark. There are no chain restaurants. There did used to be a Subway here. However, that has since closed down. Now there's another like independent sub restaurant that went in its place. A lot of the restaurants here will serve multiple kinds of cuisine. So it might serve pizza and then Chinese food and then, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. So it serves a wide range of stuff. It doesn't seem like any of the restaurants that I've seen just like serve one exclusive kind of food. There's a pho restaurant here that I think also serves sushi and a few other things as well. There's a True Value here. I saw a Radio Shack sign. So they have a couple of those kinds of businesses. There are some body shops. I think I saw one barber. So there are businesses here for sure. Definitely not a lot of the kind of businesses that you'd expect from other parts of the country as you traveled around, or even larger urban areas here in Alaska. But again, as far as like rural communities in Alaska, Bethel is the biggest. Like it's the hub. I don't remember if I said this earlier. Just north of like 6,000, 6,500-ish people call Bethel home. I don't think it's a place that a lot of tourists come to. There doesn't seem to be a lot of things out here really supporting the tourism industry. There are a couple of hotels you can stay in out here. My team stayed in an Airbnb, which was really nice, had like 3 bedrooms. It actually was really great, worked out perfect for us. So there are some Airbnbs here. Rented the car from like Bethel Car Rental, which was a couple of blocks walk from the airport. I don't know if there are any other car rental places here in Bethel other than this one. So when you come to Bethel, it definitely is the kind of place that you have to plan ahead. There's not really any just like show up and figure it out. You kind of have to plan ahead because there's not a ton of infrastructure here to support like tourism and stuff. But I do have a little bit longer before I have to go to the airport. Still have to fill up the car with gas. I want to show you gas prices because I haven't gone to the gas station yet, so I don't even know what gas prices are going to be. I'm very curious to see, but let's drive, see what else we can see before we have to leave. One of the things that we were noticing as we drove around Bethel, that almost every single dumpster is painted something different. You can see we got a Cheshire Cat dumpster right there. My time in Bethel is coming to an end. I'm actually heading out to the airport now, passing the hospital on the right, the movie theater there on the left. I need to fill the rental car up with gas, drop it off, and then go wait at the airport. All right, moment of truth. Gas here, $6.69 a gallon. Holy cow. It's a good thing I don't need a lot of gas because that's crazy. I am pretty sure this is the most I've ever spent for gas before. I'm trying to think in all of my travels if I've ever spent more than $6.69 a gallon. I don't think so. Fortunately, even though I have been driving for a few days, there's not a ton of roads here. So look at this. Had the car for about 3 days, only $17.94 to fill it up. Rental car is dropped off right here. I'm gonna go inside, get the return all done here at Bethel Car Rental. This is one of my favorite things about Bethel Car Rental is the welcoming committee. This is Shadow. All right, rental car's returned. I said goodbye to Shadow. I've got my backpack and my suitcase. I'm not checking it, I'm just carrying it on with me. And they offered me a ride to the airport, but it's such a nice day, I think I wanna walk. The airport is that building up there, so let's go. And here it is, the Alaska Airlines terminal here in Bethel. Since Alaska is the only major airline that flies in here, this is the airport. You can see here is the baggage claim right there. The check-in counter back there, restrooms, and I think I'm gonna grab a seat over here. And friends, there you go. That is where I'm gonna end this vlog. Just wanted to pick up the camera, bring you along with me as I spent a few days here in Bethel, Alaska. We love you so much, and we'll see you on the next Legg Life video.